Hello, my amazing algebra half students. This is Mrs. A, and I love math. Tonight we're talking about lesson 15, which is all about turning fractions into decimals and how that comes about. So here we have 10 blocks, and 8 of the blocks are shaded. And down here we have 5 blocks that are really supposed to be the equal size of those, but you know I don't draw very well. And then there are 4 out of the 5 shaded, and so they're supposed to represent the same amount. Okay, but I can see now that this one looks like it's a little bit smaller, but pretend that they're the same. Okay, so 4/5 and 8/10 are the same amount. Okay, and so we have 4/5 is equal to 8/10. Remember, 0.8 is the same thing as 8/10. So here's this rule. A fraction turns into a repeating or a terminating decimal. Always. It will always turn into a repeating or terminating decimal. So let's watch. Now, a terminating decimal is a decimal that stops. So 1/8 turns into 0.125, and there's nothing after it. This is on page 48 of your textbook. Okay, 3/7 turns into 0.428571, 4285714, 4285714. Okay, so it is repeating, and it goes on in the same pattern. Now, you might not see the pattern because how many times does it have to be carried out before you start to see it? Okay, the 4 is the first thing that repeats again, isn't it? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 digits, and then you start to see the repeat. Now, anytime we divide by 9 or 99, we get cool things happening. So we get 21 divided by 99 is 0.2121212121. And 5 divided by 6 is 0.833333. And, ooh, that's a big one, but it's divided by a 99. So let's see what it turns into. 0.567232323232. Pretty cool stuff, okay? So it says we can use a bar over the repeating digits to designate a repeating pattern. And we're going to put the bar over as many digits as we need to till we see the repeat. So here we had 0.428571, and then it started to repeat, 428571. So that is the repeating pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 digits, 0.428571. Notice the bar goes over all 6 digits because all 6 digits are going to repeat again and again and again. The 0.21 here is only got 2 repeating digits, 212121, so 0.21 repeating, and then the 3 is the only one that repeats. The 8 does not repeat, so we're going to put 0.83 with the repeat symbol over only the 3, and then we have to wait a while before we get to it. 0.567, and then 23 repeats, so 0.567, and the repeating symbol is only over the 2/3. So we'll be talking more about dividing fractions into decimals as we go along. Part B of this lesson, we're going to talk about rounding to a certain decimal place, a repeating decimal. So the first thing we have to do is make sure we have enough numbers written out to start the rounding process. We're going to round in exactly the same way we always do. So we're going to circle the number that we want to round to, and then we're going to draw an arrow on the next number just like we did before. But notice that millionths is out a ways, and we only have the digits out to the thousandths place, so we're going to have to take it out a little bit more. So we're going to write 42.617617. Now let's see if I've taken it out far enough. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10 thousandths, 100 thousandths, millionths. Okay, so this is the millionths place. So I need one more digit because I need to know what's coming next so that I can round. So I'm going to go ahead and start the routine over again, and it would be a 6 that would come next. Now this is the circled spot, isn't it? I'm going to round to that place, but I'm going to have to look at the number that comes after that place. So I continue my repeating pattern, 617, 617, 6, until I have one digit more than I need. And then I say, okay, the 6 is greater than a 5. Remember, it's 5 or greater. This one is bigger than a 5, so that means this one is going to get bumped up 1, and I'm going to have 42.617618, and that would be my rounded answer. Now this is the next example, and we're going to have to take this one out quite a bit further because they're telling us to round it to 8 decimal places, and right now it's only 3. But notice that the bar is over 7.3. So we're going to write 718.0737373. Okay, now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to have to go 2 more. I think I wrote too big. I did better this time. So now I've got 718.07373737337 because the 7.3 was what was repeating. So now I have to find out which one of these is the 8th place. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is the one that is where I'm going to round to. So I look at the next one. So I have an extra number there that I didn't need, but no matter. We're going to drop everything off anyway. 3 is the important number, right? I'm going to judge on it being less than 5. This one is going to stay the same. Once I realize that 7 stays the same, then I can drop these 2 off. Their job is done. And this would be my answer. 718.073733737. I've rounded to the nearest 8th decimal place. Wow, it's a long number. Now, how do I just go about turning 1/8 into a decimal? Well, I start by division. 1 divided by 8. And I just carry it out. Okay, 8 does not go into 1. So I'm going to have to put a decimal and a 0 after it. Okay, and I'm going to carry it out until I get a terminating decimal or a repeating decimal. Let's see what happens. So 8 goes into 10 one time. Now, because I have a decimal here, I'm going to go ahead and put my decimal up in my quotient. 1 times 8 is 8. 10 minus 8 is 2. And now 2 is less than 8. We're going to bring down. Remember, I can add as many zeros as I need to till it starts to come out evenly. 8 into 20 is 2. And 2 times 8 is 16. And I subtract, get a 4. And then, I hope this ends soon because I'm going to run out of space. And then I need to, 4 is less than 8. So I'm going to put 1 more 0. There it goes. I squeezed it in there. So I bring down the 0. And 8 into 40 goes exactly 5 times. So 5 times 8 is 40, and I am done. And that's what we call a terminating decimal because 0.125 and done. All right, so 1 divided by 8 is 0.125, and that is one that you should memorize. We're going to have a list of things that we should really just learn, and 0.125 being 1/8 is one of those very important ones that you will see over and over again, so it's just worth learning that conversion. Okay, now we want to divide 1 by 30, so we want to turn 1/30th into its decimal equivalent. So we're going to take the number 1 and we're going to divide it by the number 30. Okay, well, we know 30 does not go into 1, so we're going to go ahead and put our decimal there and stick a 10 in there. And guess what? Have to bring our decimal up 30 doesn't go into 10 either. So I'll put a 0. 0 times 30 goes 0 times. And then I'm going to put another 0. Finally, a number that 30 will go into. So 30 goes into 100 3 times. So 3 times 30 is 90. And I subtract and get a 10. And then I say, well, 10 is less than 30, so we could bring another one down. And we get a 0. And 30 goes into 100 3 times. Oh, this is starting to look like a pattern. 3 times 30 is 90 again. And guess what's going to be left? Another 10. So do you think that maybe we're going to have 190, 190, 190 over and over and over again? And that's what happens. So this becomes 0.03333333. How would we write that correctly? Okay, so if we had, we're just going to expand it here. 0.0333 dot 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 is what we would get if we had enough room on our board. And we would not want to write it out like that. We would use our little repeating bar, 0.03, but the repeating bar would only be over the 3 because the 0 is not repeating. Well, some of you have probably already got this one figured out before I do it because you're smart little students, and I've come to know that. So 2/5 is the same as 2 divided by 5. So 5 doesn't go into 2. And so we're going to put our decimal and our 0, and we're going to carry our decimal up there. If you want to put a 0 there, you can. And then we end up, okay, 0 times 5 is 0, and we're going to put it into 20 then. So 5 into 20 is going to go 4 times. 4 times 5 is 20, and we are done. So 0.4 is the same as 2/5, but you knew that, didn't you? Because 2/5 is the same thing as how many tenths. Okay, when we're trying to get from 2/5 to how many tenths, we're going to multiply by 2 over 2, which is 1. Remember, we can always multiply a fraction by 1, and then 2 times 2 is 4, and 5 times 2 is 10, and so 4 tenths is equivalent to 2/5, and guess what that means? 0.4 means 4 tenths. You already knew that, didn't you? On this one, I had to leave a lot of room because this one's going to be one of those that carries out a long way before it repeats. Okay, so 5 over 7 is the same as 5 divided by 7. 7 does not go into 5, so we'll put our decimal, and you can put a 0 there if you would like. 0 times 7 is 0, so then we're going to put a 0 and bring it down, and, oops, excuse me, that was a 5. My bad. So we bring down the 0. 7 into 50 goes 7 times. 7 times 7 is 49. We subtract and we get a 1. And then we bring down the next 0. And we say 7 into 10 is 1. 1 times 7 is 7. We subtract. We get a 3. And then we bring down the next 0. And 7 into 30 is 4. 4 times 7 is 28. And then we get a 2. And then we say a 2 is less than 7, so we're going to have to bring down another one. 7 into 20 is going to go 2. 2 times 7, 14. We get a 6. Okay? And then we say, oh, it's not going to go into 6. We bring down another 0. 7 into 60 is going to be 8 times. 8 times 7 is 56. And what do we have left? We have a 4. Okay? And I ran out of room down here. We have a 4. And then when we put the 4 down here, we bring down the 0. And bring down the 40. and 7 goes into 40 5 times. And 5 times 7 is 35. And 35 taken from 40 is 5. And we start back over again. So we end up with 0.714285, 714,285, 714,285, and that never stops. So we would write that as 0.714285 because that whole thing will repeat over and over and over. Okay, so now we're doing your practice problems. We have this number that we're going to round to the nearest millionth place. Well, remember, since it's a repeating decimal, we will start by writing several repetitions of the decimal, okay? And we figure out which one is the millionth place. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, 100,000ths, millionths. Okay, so this is the place that we have in question, and these two, we're not even have to worry about those because this is where we're going to stop it, and this is the one we have to look at. This one is greater than 5, therefore we will change our 3 to a 4, and we will delete that one, and we are done. So we're doing it just the same way we did before. We just have to carry it out several times so that we have enough numbers to round to that decimal place. On this number, we need to take it out to 5 decimal places. So again, 1.4, the repeating part is 1/6, so we're just going to take it out a few places so that we have plenty of spots. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is the one we're going to round it to. And then we're going to look at this digit right here. So this 6 doesn't have any job to do. We can erase it. The 1 is less than 5. Therefore, the 6 stays the same. We can get rid of that one. And 1.41616 is the final rounded answer. 1 divided by 3 turned into a decimal. 1 divided by 3. So we'll just erase this here so we get some room. And since 1 will not go into 0, 3 will not go into 1, we're going to plug a 0 up there, take down our 0, put another 0 here. 3 into 10 is 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. Subtract, bring down our next 0. Remember, we can keep on adding zeros after the decimal as long as we want to. And 3 into 10, it's 3 again. Oh, this looks like a big repeater, doesn't it? 3 times 3 is 9. We subtract, it's 1 again. We bring down another 0, it's 10 again. 3 into 10 is 3, and it goes on and on and on and on. So this is repeating. And in order to write it a little bit simpler, since it's 0.33333, we would just write that as 0.3 repeating. Because once we get to the repeating pattern, we just put the repeating sign over that digit because it's just a 3 that goes on forever. And that would be our repeating decimal. Last practice problem for this lesson, we're going to turn 1/12 into a decimal. So we're going to divide 1 by 12, and 12 does not go into 1, so we can put a 0 and we can put our decimal. Go ahead and bring down our 0 for add a 0. 12 into 10, well, that doesn't work either. So we're going to go ahead and have another 0. 0 times 12 is 0, and we bring down another 0. And 12 into 100 does work. And that's going to go 9 times, 8 times. 8 times 12 is 16. 8 times 1, and that's going to be a 96. I had to think about that one a little bit. And 100 minus 96 is 4. And then we're going to bring down the next digit. And 12 into 40 is going to go 3 times. And 3 times 12 is 36. And guess what we get? We get another 4. 40 minus 36 is 4. And we already have a 4 up there, so it's looking like a repeat. 12 into 40 again is 3. And we end up with 0.0833 repeating. So to simplify that, we don't have to write 3 repeating. We can just say 0.083 and 1 repeat after the 3, because the 3 just keeps on going forever and ever. And that is the end of lesson 15. And this is Mrs. A, and may God bless your day.